Monday Night Football, Eagles visiting the Cowboys. The Cowboys smack the Eagles in Big D. Not a very good game for our birds. A lot of bad things happened. There were some injuries on the offensive line, terrible play calling, really undisciplined penalties taken. Let's start, though, with the terrible play calling. 12 rush attempts to 39 pass attempts. 9 of those rush attempts came from Jalen Hurts. Some of those were designed quarterback keepers. Some of those were Jalen scrambling around. Just not good. And I don't know if there's something where the Cowboys, there was a lot of talk of them drafting Micah Parsons. Then even last night they talked about the first time in their history, their first 6 draft picks were defensive players. And whether or not that and really the linebacking core scared Nick Sirianni into not wanting to run the ball. You give the ball to Miles Sanders twice on the ground. He got a couple passes thrown to him, but twice on the ground, and he only gets like 28 yards. It's just not good. Jalen's, once again, your leading rusher. He ends up passing for over 300 yards, which is great. He has those 2 turnovers. The one where he underthrew his receiver on the 1-yard line that led to a touchdown, defensive scoop and score. Would have loved for it to be a pick. I had Dak at even odds to throw one, but he did not. Dak had a really good game. Thought it'd be even bigger yardage-wise, but didn't really need it when he's carving it up, and he has Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard rushing for over 150 yards, which, talked about the Cowboys linebacking core, the Eagles, not so good, getting carved up by both them and Schultz, their tight end, their other tight end. We think about Blake Jarwin, but Schultz having a humongous game, and I don't know, it's tough. You know, obviously there was the offensive line injuries, and you saw Jalen rush, and when he was rushing, he's throwing the ball 100 miles an hour, seemingly, and kind of inaccurate, missing passes. He ends up having a decent passing percentage because of all these weird passing play options. There was a lot of screens that we saw, including one in the second half that was like 3rd and 15 to Jalen Reagor. And I don't know, the play calling was all over the board. Undisciplined defense and offense. There were some holding penalties too. But undisciplined defense, really, it starts it off at the beginning of the game, and it was a constant theme. And then towards the end of the game, they just looked tired. We saw the front four getting to Dak, obviously causing that first Eagles touchdown. There were some sacks, there were some quarterback hits, and then the second half, it kind of lost its luster. People were saying on Twitter, maybe they're just unconditioned. They ended up being on for around the same time as the Cowboys defense was, so maybe it is that. I don't know. This team's all over the board. Not sure how to fix them, especially with the Kansas City Chiefs coming into town. Going to the game, that's going to be fun to see Patrick Mahomes carve up the Eagles secondary live. I thought Dak was going to do that, but don't really need to again when Zeke and Tony Pollard are rushing for over 150 yards. Dak didn't even get over 250 yards, which shocked me, but he still had a ton of touchdowns. Dak played a great game. Cowboys were just a better team. Jalen Hurts, as I'm recording this video, the alert came back. I saw the press conference last night, but we need to flush it and move on comment. We got a lot of kind of viral, weird vulgarness. We got the Eli double birds on the Eli and Peyton cam when they were interviewing Chris Long, and he's trying to give Chris Long shit about the Philly fans. So, I don't know. It was a weird game. Terrible for the Eagles. Great for the Cowboys. And, yeah, we thought the Cowboys were going to be the class of the division, and they really showed that, especially with the Washington football team looking terrible. We'll talk about it more on the podcast. Recording a reaction video, thanks to a request from my good friend Katie Winkler, who, my friend from Survivor Philly, she also just won a different Survivor game. No free ads for them. But if you guys want to see me keep doing these for the Eagles, I will. I hadn't been just because football's so saturated, and we obviously have the podcast where we're covering it every week and talking about it there. But if you want these reaction videos where I'm, giving the off-the-cuff reactions to everything, by all means let me know. They're going to come back for the baseball playoffs. They will be back for the Flyers, definitely. But if you want them for the Eagles, you want them for the end of the Phillies season, I'm probably going to do one. It might end up being an emergency podcast. We'll have to see. They're in Atlanta this week, so probably more let down, but we'll fucking see. Wheeler versus Charlie Morton tonight. But shout out to Katie. Thank you for the request. And fly, Eagles, fly.